All right. Hi, everyone. Whoopsies. Shoot. All right. That should, I think, be okay. Um, Great to meet y'all. My name's Brandon. Thanks for sticking around to the end. I'm excited today to be sharing research that I've been doing with Liz Spelke on infants' understanding of the intentions and beliefs underlying others' social actions. Now, to illustrate the kinds of intentions and beliefs that I'm interested in, I want to turn to a short story. In The Gift of the Magi, there's a woman here who cuts and sells her hair to buy her husband a gift, a chain for his watch. Unbeknownst to her, though, he's actually sold his watch to buy her a gift, combs for her hair. Darn. And so in both of these cases, the individual's actions are guided by false beliefs, and they lack any immediate positive utility. Nevertheless, they bring the couple closer together. They reveal each character's positive intentions to bring joy to the other. As adults, our ability to reason about others' mental states in these ways is really central to our moral cognition. We're sensitive to not only what outcomes others cause, be they positive, negative, or neutral, but also the intentions and beliefs underlying others' social actions. Today I'll be presenting research on potentially the developmental origins of such intention-based evaluations. Now, there have been findings that toddlers and nonverbal tests can represent others' false beliefs by sometime late in the second year. For instance, when a person doesn't see where a desired object, this watermelon, has moved. 15-month-old toddlers look longer in research by Onishi and Barajan when the person looks for the object in its current location rather than the location where the person had last seen that object. Of course, there have recently been many failures to replicate these findings. Moreover, of the findings that exist, people like Jonathan Phillips has pointed out that these findings often emerge later in development, in toddlerhood. There isn't quite as much evidence in infancy, although there is evidence that infants, younger infants in the first year, are capable of reasoning about other mental states like ignorance and knowledge. All this is to say that it appears that early false belief understanding, if it exists, is fragile at best, rendering it unlikely that infants would, say, use false beliefs, incorporate false beliefs in their social evaluations. Thus far, though, the focus has been on relatively non-social beliefs, like this one agent's belief about the location of an inanimate object. Past work has largely ignored the social context for which our mental state inferences can be important, and the social interactions that our mental state understanding supports, like coordinated action or communication. It's in these contexts that our beliefs might have consequences for other agents. And so today I'll be presenting some work about whether infants might be sensitive to others' false beliefs when agents' actions have social consequences. Now, there's reason to believe that infants would care about the consequences of social actions. In research by Kylie Hamlin and colleagues, infants have regularly preferred agents who help others over agents who hinder others in the pursuit of their goals, like in this case, to try and open this box to get to a toy here. In this event here, one agent, the helper, the pig in the green here, opens the box, allowing the protagonist, cow, to get to the toy on the inside there. The hinderer instead slams the box shut, preventing the protagonist from getting to the toy. And the finding is that 5- and 9-month-olds preferentially reach to the helper over the hinderer. From just these findings, though, it's unclear whether infants are evaluating these agents based on the outcomes that they're causing, that one is more positive than the other, or instead, the intentions underlying the actions here. More recent research has provided evidence that infants' evaluations are sensitive to mental states, like states of desire and ignorance. In one study by Kylie Hamlin and colleagues, there's a lion puppet who repeatedly reaches for one toy over another, either in the presence or in the absence of two elephant puppets. In their presence, the elephants can be said to be knowledgeable about the preference. In their absence, they're instead ignorant about that preference. And so in later events, what happens is the lion returns to find that the two doors have come down, blocking its access to the toys. One elephant proceeds to open the door to the desired toy. The other elephant instead opens the door to the non-desired toy. And the finding is that 10-month-olds prefer the elephant who'd provided access to the desired toy if and only if the elephants were present in familiarization, if they were knowledgeable. If else, infants instead chose randomly between the two. These findings suggest that infants' evaluations are not outcome-based, or else they would have preferred the agent providing the desired toy in both conditions here. In recent research building on these findings, I found that 15-month-olds appear sensitive to the intentions of agents who act on false beliefs. Taken together, these findings stand in contrast with failed attempts to replicate past research on implicit false belief understanding, and suggest, moreover, that infants and toddlers may form more robust inferences about mental states when viewing agents engaged in social actions. Now, to test this in the present experiments, we chose to study 8-month-olds, and we did this because they demonstrate preferences for helpers over hinderers in the paradigm that we adapted. And then further, they demonstrate sensitivity to intentions when agents try but fail to help and harm others in past research by Kylie Hamlin's group. All of the experiments that I'm presenting today were pre-registered over the Open Science Framework. I'll go over the true belief condition first. In this condition, we start out with this puppet show stage with two open boxes, a blue one and a green one, each with a differently colored toy on the inside. And there's this bear protagonist here who repeatedly reaches for the toy in the green box. So infants observing these displays here would be able to attribute a preference to the bear, that it desires this green toy in the green box. And of course, for half of the infants, they get the other counterbalanced order here. Now, what happens later on then is the two toys switch positions here. And importantly for the true belief condition, the rabbits are present to watch this switch occur. They can be attributed with true beliefs that that switch has occurred. Now, in the final events, then, the bear returns to the stage to find the boxes now closed. One rabbit directs the bear's attention to the original green box that had contained the bear's desired toy, although the toy inside is now different. That is, the outcome is neutral relative to the bear's goal. And because the rabbits had observed the switch occur, this rabbit can be attributed with a neutral intention. It hadn't wanted to help. The other rabbit instead directs the bear's attention to the current location of its desired toy. That is, it produces a positive outcome. And again, because the rabbits have true beliefs here, it can be attributed with intentions to help. And so, following all these displays, we present the two rabbits on screen, and we're looking to see which of the two infants might prefer to look at. And this allows us to test infants over Zoom, which has been especially helpful given the ongoing pandemic. Now, here's an example of our preferential looking test. This is a child seated in a high chair, the caregiver is behind them, and we've got here what the child is seeing. First, we've got these attention grabbers, so we can get a sense of what a child looks like when there's something on the left and the right of the screen. We then will eventually have an attention grabber that recenters the child's gaze, and then we present them with the two rabbits from the show. And this goes on for 30 seconds where they hear a voice saying, "Hi, look, who do you like?" And we go back, we have our RA's research assistants go back in the videos to get a sense of how long infants look to each of the two rabbits here. Now, Our false belief condition was similar in terms of the stimuli, except for one key feature. The rabbits are absent as the toys are switching locations here. Thus, when it comes time for the final events, the rabbits have false beliefs as to the location of the desired toy. They should believe that it's in the original location. The rabbit opening this original box that had contained the desired toy then couldn't have known that the toy had moved elsewhere. It therefore demonstrates positive intentions to help. And the rabbit who opens the box containing the desired toy, although it's causing a positive outcome here, couldn't have known that the desired toy was there. It therefore demonstrates neutral intentions. And we're again assessing infants' preferences through preferential looking here. And so what do we find? To orient you to the graph, we've got on our x-axis the intentions of the rabbits. On the y-axis, we've got the amount of time that infants spent looking at each rabbit, with longer looking taken as a signal of preference. And the colors of boxes will indicate whether a rabbit caused a positive versus the neutral outcome. And so in our true belief condition, we found that infants prefer looking to the agent who causes a positive outcome consistent with positive intentions here. Our false belief condition asks, well, what happens when intention and outcome are in conflict with each other? Which do infants privilege? And we're getting that infants here in our false belief condition are again preferring the agent, the rabbit who has positive intentions, even though here it's caused a neutral outcome. Now, seeing these findings, we argue that infants here evaluated the rabbits based on their intentions rather than on the outcomes that they caused. We next sought to replicate these findings. We noted that in our first experiment, the rabbits were always on the same sides of the screen. They therefore demonstrated a choice in whether to act and when to act, but may have had obstacles as to where to act because they always acted on the box that was closest to them. We wanted to address this in our second experiment. So in our second experiment, we had the same familiarization and toy switching event. In our final event, though, the rabbits start behind the bear, so they have to more clearly move and choose which of the two boxes to open. We did this both for the true belief condition here and also for the false belief condition, where again the critical key difference is that the rabbits are absent as the toys are being switched and therefore have false beliefs as to the final locations of those toys. Now the question is, would infants prefer the agent with positive intentions here again? Can we replicate our findings as well? And we get the same pattern as before, longer looking within both conditions to the agent, the rabbit who has positive intentions to help. So going back to the question that I'd started with, going back to the question that I'd started with, what are the developmental origins of intention-based evaluation? In two experiments, we're getting evidence that 8-month-olds are forming intention-based evaluations of agents who are acting on false beliefs. This stands in contrast with the great difficulty in recent research to replicate past work looking at implicit false belief understanding. And this has made me really question, well, what's making our experiments different from past failed attempts to replicate implicit false belief understanding evidence, if anything? And I see two possibilities as key areas for future research. First, as I alluded to in the introduction, I see what we're doing here as testing for this kind of understanding in a more social context, with infants watching agents engaged in social actions and evaluating potential social partners. Our tasks then may tap into early emerging motivations to cooperate with others, to identify individuals who might cooperate with others. The second possibility is there might potentially be differences in the task demands involved in the present and in past research. Most past research has focused on looking at infants and toddlers' predictions, what things are surprising to them, where do they predict someone will act, whereas instead, our tests are instead focused on social evaluation here. And so I see both of these key areas as being important for future research, and who knows, maybe one day I'll be back to present more at a future CogSci event. Now, at this time, I'd like to thank my advisor, Liz Spelke, my RAs, Children Helping Science, my funding sources, and all participants and families for their support with this research. Thank you.